Doctors at a New Jersey hospital raise new questions about how the AIDS virus is transmitted. And the shuttle astronauts grab the Hubble telescope and will soon start to try to repair it. This is the CBS Evening News. And this is Bob Schieffer reporting. Good evening. Until now, it has been thought that the AIDS virus could be transmitted only by sexual means, by dirty hypodermic needles or contaminated blood products, but never through casual contact. Today, however, scientists report two cases which raise some questions about that. In one case, the Centers for Disease Control report the disease was transmitted from one adolescent brother to another who may have used the same razor. They don't know, they're not sure what caused it, though. In the other case, doctors at the University of Medicine and Dentistry in New Jersey report a pre-kindergarten age child passed the disease to another small child who lived in the same house. They suspect it was because they used the same toothbrush when one had a mild case of gum disease. But again, they are not sure.
The children did share toothbrushes, and at times either child had some gingivitis or gingivostomatitis.
Even though researchers are not certain that is how the disease was transmitted, Frinkle said chances that one child could give AIDS to another are still remote.
I think the chance of HIV infection being transmitted to the children in our communities is about the same as the chance of that child being struck by lightning. We felt that we had to alert the scientific community and the clinicians and investigators around the world to this unusual phenomenon.
Just a little while ago, we talked to Dr. Harold Jaffe, who is head of the AIDS research at the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta. He says he does not believe that these new studies mean that AIDS can be transmitted by casual means. And therefore, he says there is still no reason to require AIDS-infected children to be segregated from other children.
We think that in these cases, it's most likely that there was a bleeding episode that exposed a person to infectious blood. We can't document it precisely. No one was there to take a picture of it, but we really believe that's by far the most likely.
Well, does this raise new questions about our policy throughout the AIDS epidemic, since doctors said you couldn't get it through casual contact? It was not necessary to separate those who were HIV positive from other people, and so they were allowed to go to school, they were allowed to go to daycare centers. Is that policy still workable, do you think?
CDC had developed policies on these kinds of issues as far back as 1985, and we think those policies should remain in place. That is, infected children who are behaviorally normal should be able to attend school, should be able to be placed in foster care and attend daycare.
Well, doesn't this, though, raise questions about that? I mean, aren't parents going to say to be totally safe, perhaps we ought to take another look at those policies?
I think it's important to put these cases in perspective. We're now more than a decade into the epidemic. There have been many, many infected children who have attended school, gone to daycare, and so on. Yet this is the first instance where we've seen this. So I think we do have to keep some perspective here.
Well, but what can you say to parents to reassure them that, that it is all right and that you have full confidence in the policies as they're now outlined?
I think we have a lot of information that's been accumulated over more than 10 years that says that it is safe to send your children to daycare or school with another infected child. Now, if there is a bleeding episode, it's important to take that seriously, and it's important to treat blood as if it might potentially transmit HIV. So we do believe that, but we also believe that these children can attend school and daycare.
And it is your belief that in both of these cases the disease was transmitted by contact with the other person's blood?
We think by far the most likely explanation for these cases is an exposure to blood.
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor. The other big story this weekend, out there in space today, the shuttle astronauts snagged the Hubble telescope, the billion-dollar-plus instrument that won't work. Tomorrow they'll try to start repairs, a mission on which the fate of the entire U.S. space program could be riding, since many in Washington are saying unless Hubble can be repaired, it's going to be very difficult to get Congress to keep spending what it takes to support space exploration. Cheryl Atkinson is standing by at the Johnson Space Center in Houston with the latest. Cheryl?
Bob, after a launch that was delayed a day by bad weather, the astronauts are now right on time. They've had an almost flawless beginning to an ambitious week-long mission to try to repair the orbiting Hubble Space Telescope. While much of America was snoozing on the blue sphere below, the Endeavour astronauts were in the middle of their workday, accomplishing job one.
Houston, Endeavour has a firm handshake with Mr. Hubble's telescope.
We copy that, Cubby, and there are smiles galore down here.
From inside the sealed shuttle, astronaut Claude Nicollier used the robot arm and a delicate touch to bring the Hubble Space Telescope into the open doors of the cargo bay. That gave NASA its first good look at the solar array panels that power the Hubble.
It looks like the outer bistem has a kink in it, and it is also twisted approximately 90-plus degrees clockwise.
One of the solar array panels is so warped it actually has a sort of crimp in it. The expansion and contraction as it moves in and out of the sun constantly jiggles the telescope. The astronauts have trained long and hard to replace it.
It's not inconsistent with the data we've seen to date, the modeling we've done, and the predicted performance, and indeed it was the reason why the solar arrays were high on the priority list for change-out.
At midnight, or a little before, 58-year-old Story Musgrave, the repair team's leader, and 49-year-old Jeff Hoffman will climb into the cargo bay. Against a black backdrop of empty space, they'll work to replace several stabilizing gyroscopes and then try to roll up the damaged solar array.
The orbiter is doing great. The crew is doing great. We're all ready to go do the tasks in front of us tomorrow.
Tomorrow and 4 tomorrows after that. In all, 5 long nights of spacewalking and shuttle-side repair to try to bring that Hubble telescope back up to 100%. Bob?
Okay, thank you very much, Cheryl. Joining us now is Ed Weiler, the chief Hubble astronomer for NASA. I'd like to ask you first, Dr. Weiler, is the hard part over, or is the hard part still to come here?
The journey's just begun. The hard part starts tomorrow and every night for the next 5 nights.
And so what will they be doing to get this telescope back in order to where it works again?
Well, it's a mixture of both repairs and maintenance. We had always intended to go up once every 3 years to do routine maintenance, just like you would to your car every 50,000 miles. Tomorrow's going to be primarily a maintenance job. We're going to be replacing about 4 gyroscopes, some electronic equipment, and some fuse plugs. On the second day, we're going to replace the solar panels. And then on the third and fourth day, we're going to be replacing some instrumentation to really fix the Hubble's vision.
Everything's gone very well so far. What do you think the chances are they'll actually get this thing to where it's working?
Well, I can't really give you a percentage. All I know is that the team at all the NASA centers and contractors has done everything humanly possible this time. We've tested every piece of equipment, and I think Hubble, for a change, needs some luck. I think we're in the hands of fate at this point.
All right. Well, the very best of luck to you, Doctor, and all of you down there at NASA. Because of the extraordinary nature of this shuttle mission, CBS News is going to provide live coverage of tonight's spacewalk. It will come on about the time your late local news is ending on many of these stations. Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, the search goes on in California for kidnapped victim Polly Klaus, and budget cuts threaten the effort to look for life in outer space.
Salad Shooter helps you every day.
How about some cheese for your pizza or perfect Salad Shooter hash browns for breakfast? Vegetables sliced or shredded, and nothing tops a salad like
Salad Shooter
Slicer Shredder from Presto.
Helps you every day.
For sinus pain and pressure relief, take Tristan Sinus. It contains ibuprofen with 40 million prescriptions, but combined in non-prescription strength with the decongestant doctors recommend most. Tristan Sinus with 2 doctor-recommended medicines.
When I got Dave a new electric shaver, I didn't know if he'd like it. But I shouldn't have worried, because I selected the Wall Custom Shave System. Wall gives you a choice: sensitive, close, or super close. First, Dave tried the sensitive foil. He liked it. Then he used the close foil. Smooth. Sometimes Dave prefers the super close foil when he wants to be really close. So whether your man's tender or tough, the Wall Custom Shave System, the shaver of choice.
I hit the floor at 9 a.m. and I'm going non-stop till we close. That's why I fix a dent and forget it.
An all-night shift and 5 cups of coffee. No problem. Now I fix it and forget it.
Even in the hottest liquids, when other adhesives stop holding, Fix-It-Dent holds stronger and longer.
Why not?
Now that he switched to Fix-It-Dent, he can go from morning till night and still eat like that.
For the strongest, longest hold, Fix-It-Dent and forget it.
The search for a 12-year-old California girl kidnapped from a slumber party 2 months ago was intensified today, with a suspect in custody and a new theory about the kidnapping. John Blackstone has our report.
More than 200 searchers fanned out across hilly terrain 50 miles north of San Francisco today, hoping to find evidence to locate Polly Klaas and to determine if this was a kidnap for hire.
A lot of these people are volunteers. They're highly trained. They're not paid. They leave their families and their jobs to come down here.
With horses and helicopters and divers to search reservoirs, they were hunting for any clue to show if Polly is anywhere in this remote area.
Well, we're just looking for anything and everything right now.
While the searchers are looking for the solution to this case somewhere in these hills, there's another theory, that Polly was handed off to someone else and is now far away from here. The question is whether Richard Davis, a parolee with a record that includes 2 kidnappings, remains the sole suspect. Investigators said last night they are unable to say for sure if Davis acted alone.
We think that's probably true, but we would not discount that there's a possibility of others.
Police say Davis is the man who broke into Polly's home and took her away at knife point on October 1st. Last night they announced they found his palm print in Polly's bedroom.
There are so many stranger abductions in this country that never get solved in any way, shape, or form. Well, in this case, we now know exactly who took my daughter.
But Polly's father believes someone else is now holding her. The belief that she is still alive keeps volunteers at work, still sending out her picture.
I was glad we didn't get any bad news on Polly, but I was also depressed because we didn't get any good news on Polly.
They are working to keep alive the hope that Polly will be coming home. John Blackstone, CBS News, Petaluma, California.
The independent prosecutor's soon-to-be released Iran-Contra report is said to sharply criticize former Presidents Reagan and Bush. Sources say it finds Mr. Reagan set the stage for the illegal activities and that Mr. Bush was not telling the truth when he said he was out of the loop as Mr. Reagan's vice president. Lawyers for both men dispute the report's conclusion. One of the Watergate burglars, Frank Sturgis, died today of lung cancer in Miami. He was 68. He served 13 months in prison for his part in the Watergate break-in, which ultimately brought down the Nixon administration.
Skill FlexiCharge cordless tools all share the same battery pack. So when you need a recharge, they keep on working. The FlexiCharge interchangeable power system from Skill.
I try to ignore my sensitive teeth, but they hurt.
Don't ignore your sensitive teeth. Sensodyne helps stop the pain that can make you stop brushing. Could lead even to tooth loss.
Thanks, Sensodyne.
Trust Sensodyne, the dentist's choice for sensitive teeth.
Introducing the new Shell MasterCard from Chemical Bank. With this MasterCard, when you buy something you want, you earn something you need. Free Shell gasoline. With the new Shell MasterCard from Chemical Bank, average drivers could save 10% of their yearly gasoline costs. Use the card just 6 times a year and there's no annual fee. To apply for the Shell MasterCard from Chemical Bank, call 1-800-FREE-GAS.
Hey, Remington, shave this. If you can grow it, we can shave it. Remington introduces the Triple Foil, the only shaver with 3 narrow microscreens to cross-cut each whisker 3 times. For hard-to-shave places on hard-to-shave faces. The Remington Triple Foil.
If you can grow it, we can shave it.
And ladies, for a silky smooth shave in or out of the shower, the Lady Remington Wet Dry.
I'm Charles Carroll. This week, a little stopover on the River of Life with the writer and fisherman Howell Raines. Join us this Sunday morning.
President Clinton visited California today, buoyed by reports of lower unemployment, but as Californians let him know, they still have plenty of economic problems. Randall Pinkston has our report.
President Clinton, on his 8th trip to California since taking office, picked Rockwell International, a high-tech California success story, as the site of a policy walk conference on jobs, and took note of an economic and a political reality.
We couldn't restore the American economy without restoring the California economy.
Local leaders eagerly agreed.
Mr. President, as you've said many times, as L.A. and the other big cities go, so go the nation.
New numbers just out this weekend show lower unemployment rates here in California, but many speakers at this roundtable came to remind Mr. Clinton their problems aren't over. A community leader.
We must have a national effort, Mr. President, to get these weapons off the streets.
A businessman.
I'd certainly support your efforts to make it easier for small businesses to also sell to the government with less red tape.
Everyone had ideas for improvements.
Enterprise zones, getting them here, right here in Los Angeles, consolidating the DOE weapons lab at Lawrence Livermore, a megaport status for San Diego.
The president listened attentively, but pointed out that with Americans demanding lower taxes and a balanced budget, there are limits to what government can do.
So every time I spend more money as a president, or the Congress appropriates more money to invest in defense conversion, we have to cut something else out of the domestic budget right now.
Still, in this politically crucial state, Mr. Clinton managed to find another $50 million in economic aid for Los Angeles. Tonight, he goes to Beverly Hills for a $2 million political fundraiser, showing not everyone here has money problems. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, Canoga Park, California.
President Clinton's health plan came under attack today. That was by design because the criticism came at a series of town meetings conducted by House Republicans who want to promote their own alternative. Anthony Mason reports.
In town meeting halls across 24 states today, from Moorestown, New Jersey,
I like less government. I don't want to see the government step in and take over.
to Atlanta, Georgia, House Republicans took their health care plan on the road with an anti-Clinton sales pitch.
The Clinton plan is a big government, big bureaucracy, high-tax plan that just doesn't fit the way America works. We're not good at big bureaucracies, and I would just say, if you like public housing, you'll love public medicine.
There were a few protesters and critics who said these Republicans aren't really interested in health care reform.
The members involved in this exercise today are involved because they want to make this a partisan fight and they want to embarrass the president.
But the meeting halls were packed with people who wanted answers.
Making sense of all the changes won't be easy along Main Street. The House Republican health care reform plan is just one of a half-dozen proposals on the table in Washington.
The president's plan guarantees universal care and asks employers to pay for most of it. The House Republican plan, by contrast, does not ensure everyone will be covered and asks employees to pay the cost.
I think most people would say if they're entitled to buy something for $3,000 or $4,000 a year that they don't have because they're working for $5 an hour, they would not regard that as significant access to care.
And as for benefits, the diagnosis of the House GOP plan...
You get less. You may pay less, but you get less.
Compounding the problem for the congressman campaigning today, Senate Republican leader Bob Dole is pushing yet another plan, closer to the president's. Somewhere in between may be a compromise on health care reform. The audiences today seemed anxious to find it. Anthony Mason, CBS News, Moorestown, New Jersey.
The National Cancer Institute has changed its guidelines and is no longer recommending routine mammograms for women in their 40s. The institute says there is no evidence that such examinations reduce the death rate from breast cancer for that age group.
I use a shampoo for dandruff, but my scalp still itches like crazy.
You need Scalpicin, the revolutionary scalp medicine for deep scalp itch, not ordinary dandruff. Scalpicin is not a shampoo. It's a clear liquid you don't wash away like shampoo. Apply Scalpicin anytime for deep scalp itch relief with medicine chosen by dermatologists over all these dandruff shampoo formulas. Scalpicin penetrates to relieve the itch and help prevent flaking.
The itch is gone.
Scalpicin, the scalp medicine for deep scalp itch.
Panasonic presents a unique and highly evolved Smooth Operator. The new Smooth Operator 2 with float control is the only razor to unite the comfort of twin independent floating heads with the closeness of a warm, wet shave. Don't try this with any plugged-in razor. The new Smooth Operator Wet Dry Razors from Panasonic. Smoother than you ever thought you would be.
So at Jenny's school play, I get this cough. Somebody handed me these Robitussin cough drops. They worked right away, and I could feel those vapors. Robitussin took the spotlight off me and put it where it belonged.
Robitussin cough drops from the cough experts. Day after day, you make those glasses of thick Metamucil disappear. Why not make them all disappear with FiberCon? Doctor-recommended FiberCon gives you the same fiber regularity in tablets.
Easy to swallow tablets.
Get doctor-recommended FiberCon.
Can NASA fix the Hubble Space Telescope? And what should be our next mission in space? NASA Director Golden and Senator Mikulski face the nation Sunday.
Secretary of State Warren Christopher met tonight in Jerusalem with Prime Minister Rabin as part of the new peace agreement. The Israelis are due to start leaving the Gaza Strip and Jericho in only 9 days. But this trip, Christopher is working on another part of the peace puzzle, and Bob Simon has more on that.
Secretary Christopher went to a hotel on the Mount of Olives today to take a good look at Jerusalem, the capital of Israel, and the heart of the problem. Tomorrow, he'll fly to Damascus to try and breathe some life into the moribund talks between Syria and Israel. A breakthrough is not possible right now. Prime Minister Rabin says he can't deal with the Syrian demand for an Israeli withdrawal from the Golan Heights, at least not now, when his plate is full of problems with the PLO. And Syrian President Assad remains reluctant to spell out exactly what he means by peace. But while the Israeli-Syrian negotiations are in the deep freeze, the occupied territories are boiling over. The Israeli army hunted and killed wanted Palestinian militants last week. That sparked violent clashes in the Gaza Strip. PLO leaders charge that despite the peace accord with Israel, the army is conducting business as usual.
They are still continuing the same kind of policies that are creating an atmosphere that is not conducive to make peace, to peacemaking.
Israelis have been targets too. Palestinian extremists killed 2 Jews and wounded 2 others in a West Bank drive-by shooting this week. Mourners wept at the 11th and 12th funerals in Israel since the agreement was signed. Jewish settlers who opposed the deal from the start say they won't be sacrificed on the altar of peace.
We're not going to be party to our lives being the price that the country is paying for Rabin's romance with Arafat.
It will be difficult for Christopher to steer clear of the crisis between Israelis and Palestinians, but the Israelis have made it clear they don't want him to get involved. This means that his only hope for a much-needed foreign policy success lies on the road to Damascus. If Christopher can just get the Syrians to agree to resume talks with Israel, he will declare victory. Bob Simon, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
The secretary also said there are some good things as well as some difficulties in North Korea's latest response in the nuclear arms dispute. In meetings with U.S. officials at the United Nations, North Korea reportedly offered international inspectors wider access to its nuclear sites. With world trade negotiators opening a final round of talks in Geneva, thousands of farmers were out in protest today. The farmers from Europe, Japan, and India fear a trade deal will ruin them by cutting subsidies and ending import bans. Negotiators face a December 15th deadline for reaching agreement.
You build a new razor with a precision groove to help the Norelco lift and cut system shave closer than ever before. And what do you get? The new Norelco razors, our closest shave ever.
Here's a whole other kind of chip. Presto Chip Shot Potato Chipper. Slices so thin they gotta be crisp. Regular or ripple. Fry them up. Even microwave for a light, no-fat chip. Flavor them the way you like. From Presto.
What gives new improved Healthy Choice soup its bigger, better taste?
Well, it's simple. You get more.
More big chunks of vegetables. More home-style noodles than ever before. And still less fat than the leading soup.
You gotta want more.
And lean, tender cuts of chicken for a more savory taste than ever before.
This soup tastes great.
New improved Healthy Choice soup with a bigger, better, bolder, tastier new taste. Healthy Choice.
Do people love Sunsweet Orange and Lemon Essence Pitted Prunes or what?
What a great taste treat. I keep eating it, so it must be good.
I'm not eating it just to be polite now.
It's a whole different fruit. Can I have one more before I leave? Better hurry, folks. They're going fast.
Norelco says don't shave your legs, baby them. With Norelco's incredibly close, comfortable shave that leaves you baby smooth, baby soft. Norelco Lady Shave Razors, dry or wet, we make close comfortable.
The U.S. Navy launched its newest attack submarine today, the USS Hartford. The traditional bottle of champagne would not break on cue, but that did not stop the sub from sliding into the Thames River. The nuclear-powered Hartford will carry 48 tactical missiles and torpedoes. Finally tonight, as the shuttle astronauts prepare for their first Hubble repair spacewalk, there is mixed news about the search for life much farther out in the great beyond. The search is over as far as the federal government is concerned, but private donors aren't about to give up. Jerry Bowen reports.
It was an ambitious undertaking from the outset, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or SETI program that was begun just over 1 year ago. Researchers at a listening post in California's Mojave Desert, scientists at a mammoth radio telescope in Puerto Rico, sweeping the sky in search of radio signals from outer space, hoping to answer the question,
are we one of many sentient creatures who look up and wonder at the stars, or are we indeed singular and precious?
But a year to the day from its start, Congress decided this particular star search was too precious and pulled the plug, cut the funding for the planned 10-year survey.
We cannot afford it. We are the wealthiest nation in the world, but we have been extremely reluctant in the Congress and in the administration over the years to accept the basic premise we cannot be all things to all people.
With a budget next year of $12 million, the cost averaged out to a nickel a year for every American. Not much, say program supporters, to discover if there's life out there.
This was not a very expensive NASA program. It's part of its problem. It has no large lobby out there saying, fund me, fund me.
So now the researchers have begun a frantic fundraising campaign to stay alive, and in just 7 weeks have raised half of what's needed from private donations to keep their listening posts open through July of 1995. Too much is at stake, they say, to let politics shut the door on the universe.
This to me was a really hopeful sign that society had been willing, out of pure curiosity, to undertake something that might be a long-term investment, simply to understand our place in the universe.
But the signal from Congress is loud and clear. Any long-term investment must be more down to earth. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And that's the news. Reminder, extended live coverage of tonight's shuttle astronaut spacewalk begins after your late local news on many of these stations. Then tomorrow on Sunday morning with Charles Kuralt, the latest on the shuttle mission, plus a look at unemployment in New Economic Times. And then on Face the Nation, we'll have more on the space program, the program at a crossroads, with NASA Administrator Daniel Golden and Senator Barbara Mikulski of Maryland. This is Bob Schieffer, CBS News in New York. Good night.
Experience CBS News.
Last week, the Giants won by a monster field goal, and the Dolphins won by a minor miracle. I love this game. Sunday, New York, Miami on CBS. I'm a big fan.
This is CBS.